Good morning. So today we are going to speak about the Temple of Abydos. We are doing a day tour from Luxor to Abydos, and then in our way coming back we'll go to Dendera. But in this video we'll speak only about Abydos temple, then later we'll publish the Temple of Dendera. We started early morning by 6:30 from Luxor. Then we left Luxor. We head north to Kena, in which we have Dendera. Then we moved by the desert route to arrive to the place called Abydos. Abydos is located in the center of Egypt, about 500 kilometers from Cairo, south of Cairo, and it was famous from the ancient pre-dynastic times, because in which, according to the ancient Egyptian legend, the head of god Osiris was buried in that place in Abydos. When god Seth, god of evil, murdered his brother Osiris and cut his body in pieces, he spread his body in each nome of Egypt. In Abydos, it was the head of Osiris buried there. Then later, the faithful wife, Isis, she collected the body of her husband, Osiris, and she begot the falcon son, god Horus, who take revenge later against his uncle Seth. Abydos is one of the most important temples all over Egypt, one of the striking temples all over Egypt. In Abydos we have two temples, one for King Ramesses II and his father King Seti I. Since the first dynasty, the pharaohs started to build one tomb in Abydos, from which the first pharaoh, Menes or Mina or Narmer, who came from this place, then another tomb in Saqqara. Abydos temple is in a place called Al-Araba al-Madfuna, so the buried tombs. And Abydos is in the Greek language. In ancient Egyptian language, it was Abydos. As we said, from which we had the first pharaohs, and it's located about 200 kilometers at the north of Luxor. And by the way, it was the capital of the 8th nome of ancient Egyptian Upper Egypt nomes. As we can see, the temple was destroyed. The first and the second court, they were destroyed. Just we have the portico, as we can see from that distance. And we have the second hypostyle hall, as we can see now. We have some colored walls, columns, in which we have the different scenes of offering by King Seti I to the gods. Many temples, many photos, many scenes we have here. Like we can see here, the pharaoh is doing offering to different gods, Ptah, Khonsu, the king himself on the limb of goddess Isis. Here the king is offering the might to the gods. Here we can see the ceiling is lovely. And here we can see the hypostyle hall. We have two hypostyle halls. One of them, the first one of 24 columns, papyrus form columns, and the second one of 36. Here we have 7 chapels, the chapel of Horus, as we can see the sacred boat of Horus, and we can see the pharaoh, he's doing different offerings to god Horus the falcon, with different head dress or crowns above the head. Then we have the chapel of Isis, the mother of Horus, and we can see different scenes of the sacred boat of her, and we can see the false door here. The chapel of Osiris is the best and the greatest one. As we can see, the roof, the ceiling is lovely. This one is composed of like a small temple inside the temple. By the way, the temple had the L-shaped form, and we can see going inside after the Osiris hall chapel. It opens in like antechamber. In our right hand side we have three small chapels, and we can see the different scenes in which the Pharaoh is doing offerings to Osiris and to different gods here. Here we can see the Horus shrine inside this small Osiris chapel, and we can see the Pharaoh is doing different offerings to different gods. Horus the falcon, and he is giving also different offerings from the gods. Here we have Osiris shrine. As we can see, the Pharaoh is going to keep some offering to the god, and the god is giving to him something. Here we can see the Pharaoh in front of Anubis, in front of Osiris and Horus. Here he is raising the Jed pillar, symbol of resurrection of Osiris. Here we can see the Pharaoh kneeling in front of Osiris and his wife Isis. Here we can see the Pharaoh in front of Isis, the wife. Here in front of Ptah, above a shrine. Here he is offering many offerings to goddess Isis. Here the Pharaoh taking the key of life from the Ptah. Here the Pharaoh with a leopard skin as a high priest. Here you can see the false door. Here the Pharaoh in front of god Amira in the chapel of Amira. He is giving some robes and to Amira. Here in front of different forms of god Amira, Amun-Ra, Amun-Kamutef, and many different scenes of Amun himself. God Amun-Ra was a great god of Luxor, so we can see the Pharaoh is doing many offerings to the god. Then we have the chapel of god Ra-hr-akhy, one of the greatest gods of Egypt. And we can see now the scarab beetle above the head on the solar disk. Then we have the chapel of god Ptah, and god Ptah was the local god in Memphis. And we can see the Pharaoh here crowned by different gods, and god Horus and Ptah, they are doing the Simatawi sign. Here we can see the false door in the chapel of Ra-hr-akhy. The Pharaoh and the temple, it was called the mansion of Menmait-Ra. Menmait-Ra means King Seti I. Here we have the Abydos kings list. This is most important, in which we have King Ramses II and his father behind him, King Seti I, and they are doing like offering, venerating all the ancestors or all the kings before them. The famous, one of the most famous scene in the temple, one of the range of amazing things we have in the temple here. Then we have small holes, like we can see now. Here we can see the Hanu barge or the Hanu boat connected to the Book of the Dead. Here we can see a chapel of King Seti I himself, because King Seti I, he defied himself inside the temple. And the temple has an amazing plan, like we said before, L-shaped plan. Different scenes inside the temple. Then we will move going out the temple, behind the temple, to see the most striking building, the Osiris. The Osiris is a symbolic tomb for the cenotaph of god Osiris. And inside into the rooms here we have some scenes of the Book of the Gates, Book of the Dead, and many books we have here. The Temple of Abydos, the most important temple that we have in center of Egypt, and Abydos, in which we have many tombs, many cenotaphs, many tombs especially date back to the first dynasty, first and second dynasty. Here we can see the temple from before we go inside. The first and second court, they were destroyed, and we can see the portico in which we have some scenes of the Pharaoh himself. The Temple of Abydos, one of the greatest temples of Egypt. If you like our video, please comment, share our video about Abydos. Then after a while we'll do the most famous temple of Dendera. We are working on that. Thank you for listening, and please don't forget to subscribe, share or comment in our channel. Thank you.